Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vana Chari Jamuna Tira Vana Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jai Mahamishnipada Paramahamsa Pirarajkacharya Astotra Shri by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Can you move this little this side? This one. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Especially welcome to Sureka Mataji. So we covered the first 3 verses so far. We are in the 4th verse today. And I was referring Gurujan Prabhu's book for this last 3 verses. And this is what he writes in the commentary for the third verse, the last paragraph, says, the first three texts form a prelude to the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada is going to say the same thing in text 4 today. So the first text defines the absolute truth. The second describes the Bhagavatam and defines actual religion. And the third invites humankind to taste the Bhagavatam sweetness. So first three verses are pretty much packed up, and it is very straightforward. And the first verse itself, Vyasdev puts out what absolute truth means and who it is very clearly. And the second text says about Bhagavatam and actual religion, defines actual religion, which is devotional service to Krishna. And the third invites humankind to taste Bhagavatam's sweetness. And particularly in the third text, when the word aho is used, aho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha, that's the last sentence in the third text. And J. Goswami says that Bhagavatam enables one to attain what is otherwise unattainable. Pretty interesting. And furthermore, he says, when one understands Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the reservoir of rasa, raso vaisaha, one becomes transcendently blissful. So, Bhagavatam helps us attain unattainable, and indirectly unattainable, mentioned is unattainable is Krishna. And when one knows Krishna as a supreme person, Krishna the Supreme Lord as a reservoir of all rasa, then one becomes a transcendently blissful. And so why this happiness matter for us is, again, like Gurujan Prabhu writes in the same commentary, everyone is searching for happiness. In all of us, whatever we are doing is searching for happiness. And he says in a different way, the attempt to find pleasure in matter will cease for those who read the Bhagavatam and relish its content. And then he explains, when one watches a movie, he endeavors to taste rasa. Basically, we do anything for want of experience, especially the sweetness. Basically, Gurujan Prabhu puts it as the mellow of relationship with Krishna, but without Krishna. So that's where the big problem is. So text 3 clearly explains that rasa can be exchanged between the same species, and because the living entity is trying to experience rasa or happiness in relationship with matter, which is like the combination is not correct. It's improper. Baladev Vidyabhushan says here, the combination is improper, and it's unworthy, and so also it cannot be eternal. So that's the biggest problem. It's in a technical case, building up before going to text 4. So therefore, and the rasa can be actually exchanged between the same species and originally exchanged between the living entity and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That was the explanation in text 3. And it can be experienced fully on the spiritual platform. And it's pretty much discussed. That is important for us, practitioners of devotional service, to make our devotional practice also on the spiritual platform. If it is not on the spiritual platform, it is still in the material platform, then the exchange is not complete, and then it will fall into temporary, improper experience. It will not be everlasting. We will not taste the sweetness, right? So now, where do we find it? Where do we find this exchanges? Nigama kalpadara dalitam phala. that's what Bhagavatam says. Bhagavatam gives the ripened fruit of the Vedic trees. Again, the same place, Jiva Goswami comments that this is what he says for this sentence. O auspicious souls, learned in the mellows of love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, please relish in your hearts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the sweet fruit of the desire tree of the Vedas, a tree with many branches and twigs that bear all fruits, a tree that has come to earth from the spiritual world of Vaikuntha. So basically, Jiva Goswami is telling, relish Supreme Personality of Godhead. In one way, this particular text is saying about Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam gives a mature fruit of the Vedas, and Jiva Goswami is saying, this means, your relation, you're experiencing through contact with Bhagavatam, we are contacting Krishna, and he is invited to relish, in your heart, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And basically he has, Bhagavatam has come down to earth from the spiritual world of Vaikuntha. So, just the build-up of the case here is, when we are approaching Bhagavatam, we are approaching Krishna. Right? So, text 4, although gives the setting of the scene, Prabhupada gives a how to approach and how to best experience whatever Bhagavatam is presenting, or how to best experience Krishna, relationship with Krishna. So, with that, we will start reciting the verse. Naimishe nimishe kshetre Rishaya Saunakadaya Sadram Swagaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Asata Naimishe Nimishe Kshetre Rishaya Saunakadaya Sadram Swagaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Asata. Anyone want to recite? Prabhuji want to? Naimishe Nimishe Kshetre Rishaya Saunakadaya Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Naimishe Nimishe Kshetre Rishaya Saunakadaya Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam Naimishe Nimisha Kshetre Rishaya Saunakadaya Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samam. Okay, moving on to synonyms. Naimishe, in the forest known as Naimisharanya. Animisha Kshetra, the spot which is especially a favorite of Vishnu, who does not close his eyelids. It's interesting, who does not close his eyelids. Rishaya, sages. Saunaka Adaya, headed by this is Saunaka. Satram, sacrifice. Swargaya, the Lord who is glorified in heaven. Lokaya, and for the devotees who are always in touch with the Lord. Sahasra, 1000, Samam years, Asada perform. Translation. Once in a holy place in the forest of Naimisharanya, great sages, headed by the sage Saunaka, assembled to perform a great 1000-year sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Lord and his devotees. So we will try to see how Prabhupada gives away the approach for us to give, for us to approach Bhagavatam and really experience relationship with Krishna. How do we do it? And before that, he will explain about the Naimisharanya Kshetra purport. The prelude of the Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken in the previous 3 slokas. Now, the main topic of this great literature is being presented. Srimad Bhagavatam, after its first recitation by Sri Sukadeva Goswami, was repeated for the second time at Naimisharanya. So we know this one, all of us, and it was repeated second time. In the Vayaviya Tantra, it is said that Brahma, the engineer of this particular universe, contemplated a great wheel which could enclose the universe. The hub of this great circle was fixed at a particular place known as Naimisharanya. Similarly, there is another reference to the forest of Naimisharanya in the Varaha Purana, where it is stated that by performance of sacrifice at this place, the strength of demoniac people is curtailed. Thus, Brahmanas prefer Naimisharanya for such sacrificial performances. Something lesson for us is, Brahmanas, they were doing their sacrifice, but they are also choosing the best place to perform the sacrifice to get the best from the sacrifice also. The devotees of Lord Vishnu offer all kinds of sacrifices for his pleasure. The devotees are always attached to the service of the Lord, whereas fallen souls are attached to the pleasures of material existence. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that anything performed in the material world for any reason other than for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu causes further bondage for the performer. It is enjoined, therefore, that all acts must be performed sacrificially for the satisfaction of Vishnu and his devotees. This will bring everyone peace and prosperity. The instructions are pretty straightforward here. How everything should be performed for the satisfaction of Vishnu and his devotees. It is pretty interesting. But it's also a question for us, where do we fall in? Here, Prabhupada is explaining, the devotees are always attached to the service of the Lord, and they offer all kinds of sacrifice for his pleasure, whereas fallen souls are attached to the pleasures of material existence. So it is a question to me, like where do I fit in, based on whether I'm performing this, what are the things Prabhupada is mentioning here. And this is furthermore qualities of those great devotees or those sages. The great sages are always anxious to do good to the people in general. And as such, the sages headed by Shaunaka and others assembled at this holy place of Naimisharanya with a program of performing a great and continuous chain of sacrificial ceremonies. Forgetful men do not know the right path for peace and prosperity. However, the sages know it well, and therefore, for the good of all men, they are always anxious to perform acts which may bring about peace in the world. They are sincere friends to all living entities, and at the risk of great personal inconvenience, they are always engaged in the service of the Lord for the good of all people. Lord Vishnu is just like a great tree, and all others, including the demigods, men, siddhas, charanas, vidyadharas, and other living entities, are like branches, twigs, and leaves of the tree. By pouring water on the root of the tree, all the parts of the tree are automatically nourished. Only those branches and leaves which are detached cannot be so satisfied. Detached branches and leaves dry up gradually despite all watering attempts. Similarly, human society When it is detached from the personality of Godhead, like detached branches and leaves, is not capable of being watered, and one attempting to do so is simply wasting his energy and resources. Um, some important things, oftentimes, it comes up in our heart, that there is always a feeling of loneliness. Is there, there's always a question, is there anyone for me? Or, if you put it more grossly, people will say, does God care about me? I'm going through so much here, right? You go furthermore, people say, is he cruel? Is he so cruel that he likes me suffering? Kind of a thing, right? But here, devotees of the Lord, what is their, what are they doing all the time? Is they're always anxious to do good to the people in general. And furthermore, they're always anxious to, for the good of all people, they're always anxious to perform acts which may bring about peace in the world, right? And adding more, they are sincere friends to all living entities, even at the risk of great personal inconvenience. They're always engaged in the service of the Lord for the good of all people. Something very important for us to take note on. Really, both in terms of receiving the mercy and also in terms of reciprocating back, or the intention we need to have when performing services, right? So we can very well to connect to our founder Acharya in this context here. How he was always anxious and how he took all personal inconveniences, and especially I was thinking, the way he brought these books for us also, it was not a straightforward, easy task for him. He only rested for 2 hours, and rest of the night he was doing this, translating these books, and the daytime, taking care of the welfare activities or guiding people to carry out the welfare activities. And we see that that's been carried out by his representatives, and furthermore, and by whose mercy we are here today, right? And of course, the tree formula, there are many branches. Just by watering the root, everything will get flourished. But the society teaches and asks us to do in a different way. The society teaches us to water the branches separately. If not, branch the water the detached branches also, right? But interestingly, Prabhupada is putting here that those detached branches, they are not only dry up gradually, but they are also not being capable of being watered. That's pretty strong, And one attempting to do so is simply wasting his energy and resources. It says, previously, Prabhupada quoted Bhagavad Gita verse saying that if you are doing anything not for the pleasure of the Lord, it's binding. Here it is, here it is what said is here is like, if you're doing anything, it is waste of energy and resources. So now we can get an idea why there is, we are not successful in our endeavors without Krishna consciousness. Right? The modern materialistic society is detached from its relation to the Supreme Lord, and all its plans, which are being made by atheistic leaders, are sure to be baffled at every step. Yet, they do not wake up to this. So what to do in this age? Like Prabhupada says in this age, but in this situation, in this dilemma we are in, what to do is, in this age, the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord is a prescribed method for waking up. The ways and means are most scientifically presented by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and intelligent persons may take advantage of his teachings in order to bring about real peace and prosperity. Srimad Bhagavatam is also presented for the same purpose, and this will be explained more specifically later in the text. Two things. Last year for Bhadra Purnima, Bhagavatam covered 7,000 houses overall during the Bhadra Purnima time, overall in Earth planet. And this year, there are plans to make it double and triplet. There are plans even to gift our Bhagavatam to dignitaries. Something. Sharing this with you all. That was the plan of the leadership. It's going to be like more powerful push of Bhagavatam to be spread out throughout the earth. And we have the opportunity, the great sages, our leaders from our movement. They're always looking for the ways to generate welfare for the people, by spreading the mercy of the Lord. So we can be part of it in just my small ways of assisting, and we can better assist by receiving it first, right? I know someone in our community, they received Bhagavatam. There are many stories. They received Bhagavatam and then their life is much different after that. Right? I can say for myself, Bhagavatam helped me very much to handle my demands from my job and health and other things. So that's how this verse, purport of this verse really helps us know, what are the sages anxious about, and what are their concern, why the mercy is passed on to us, and then it allows us to receive that mercy, and furthermore it tells us how better we can reciprocate and assist. We can reciprocate it is by assisting their mission. We're going to cover the world, cover the earth, they say in distribution language. So that's the fortune we are blessed with. So the essential message I got is congregational chanting, as the process already laid out by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Then congregation chanting, we do it better. We do it every day. Little bit every day, cultivate it. And when it comes to congregational chanting, we blow it up. It doesn't also mean that, if not, you will not be able to get much benefit from the congregational chanting. If you're not doing it every day, individually, personally, right? But it also doesn't mean that, we are not eligible to come, but we need to be clear what are the important, first things to be done, right? So, we can acknowledge our position, acknowledge the blessings, and let's open our heart to the mercy. And then we need to do our part. Our part is we also need to look for the welfare of our family, community, and society. Being the recipients of the mercy by these great saints. So, something to take from this verse. Then moving on to the next verse. Tayekedata munayo prata hudagnaiha satkrutam sudam asinam paprachur idam adarat. Translation. One day, after finishing their morning duties, by burning a sacrificial fire and offering a seat of esteem to Sri Sutta Goswami, the great sages made enquiries with great respect about the following matters. Purport. So this purport, we're going to have a lot of practical tips, for achieving the goal of attaining the real happiness, which will be attained only through relationship with Krishna, exchanging rasa with Krishna, by loving service, by devotional service to Him. So let's read the purport. Morning is the best time to hold spiritual services. The great sages offered the speaker of the Bhagavatam an elevated seat of respect called the Vyasasana, or the seat of Sri Vyasadeva. Sri Vyasadeva is the original spiritual preceptor for all men, and all other preceptors are considered to be his representatives. A representative is one who can exactly present the viewpoint of Sri Vyasadeva. Sri Vyasadeva impregnated the message of Bhagavatam unto Sri Sukadeva Goswami, and Sri Sukadeva Goswami heard it from him. So Sri Sukadeva Goswami, all bona fide representatives of Sri Vyasadeva in the chain of disciple succession are to be understood to be Goswamis. These Goswamis restrain all their senses and they stick to the path made by the previous acharyas. The Goswamis do not deliver lectures on the Bhagavatam capriciously. Rather, they execute these services most carefully, following their predecessors who delivered the spiritual message unbroken to them. It's the repetition of the message. This sentence is the repetition of message from the lesson from the fourth verse. Those who listen to Bhagavatam may put questions to the speaker in order to elicit a clear meaning, but this should not be done in a challenging spirit. One must submit questions with a great regard for the speaker and the subject matter. This is also the way recommended in Bhagavad Gita. One must learn transcendental subject by submissive or reception from the right source. Therefore, these sages address the speaker Sutta Goswami with great respect. One must learn the transcendental subject by submissive or reception from the right source. Isn't it nice? Such an elaborated training, we get clear purports and clear direction. That's all from my side. It's 7:40, right on time. 10 minutes for any discussion.
More quick comment.
Yes, Prabhu. You want to take this? Yes.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's small thing.
I think that will be glad.
Yes, so I know that the source of the Srimad Bhagavatam, like the last, you mentioned the last one. But you said something I couldn't get to the last thing you said. And I laughed. Although you make any songs coming out here? And then, very short. Anyway, I'll get to the point. So Srimad Bhagavatam, when I officially joined Srila Prabhupada, meaning when I was initiated, I listened to Srimad Bhagavatam for one complete, I wouldn't say complete, but close to 1 year.
1 year.
In Los Angeles, in the headquarters at that time. Without going out for book distribution, because that was the term.
Yeah.
And sometime when I came out to Chicago, fast forward. So people will come up to me and ask me something, and when I comment on certain things, they say, "Wow, where do you hear this from?"
Yeah.
So I said, I couldn't remember everything. But what I remember when I sit down in class, listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, because as we know, it is, besides japa, but Srimad Bhagavatam could be the most advanced awakening. One more question, Gurujan Prabhu. You know, in the early days, we were just receiving newsletters coming from, especially from Vrindavan. And newsletter was coming everywhere, but especially to Los Angeles in the headquarters. And I never missed it. I always read it on Gurujan. I mean, it was nice to know him personally. For the time when he was coming to Vrindavan, and I spent a lot of time in Vrindavan, India. And I was in association live at that time for quite some time. But Gurujan Prabhu, what I have read about him in newsletters, I mean, and even up to today, I'm not downloading anyone else. He's one of Srila Prabhupada's most advanced, in my mind, devotees at that time. Sure. What he was saying, what people were saying about him in newsletters.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, it is very important, and to your first comment, Prabhu, it's pretty much needed. Like, we need to absorb ourselves, like I'm putting it as receiving the mercy, the mercy of Bhagavatam, mercy of Prabhupada, mercy of Lord, and then go for this service is much different. And I also remember attending some leadership meeting, and then they were suggesting, they were sharing the best practice for anyone doing the service. I think it was in India. So the brahmacharis, they take up the service roles, and periodically they take a break. Brahmacharis means they get prepared. They do this study intensely for some time, and then they take up some service roles. Even after taking up service roles, periodically they take a break. I don't remember the exact break, maybe once in 3 months, something like that. They just take the time off, again go back and absorb themselves in the Shastra, just observe themselves, rebuild their energy with the devotional energy, and then come back. So I was just remembering, it is something that is a driving force for us going forward in our devotional life. The messages of Bhagavatam and devotional energy, I say, devotional spirit. Thank you, Prabhu, for bringing it up.
I don't mention anyone, it helps me a lot, and other people. And with Srila Prabhupada, especially in book distribution.
Yeah.
Because, at that time, Los Angeles and England, they were the two in competition, but especially Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That do the first, grand work for Srila Prabhupada of building temples in India.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Yeah, we have this thing as first law in our book distribution out of 4 laws. Without this, there is no book distribution. Without reading, doing our sadhana every day, cultivating a mustard seed of faith, it's pretty important for book distributors. Sadhana. So let me have some reflections from everyone. Please share some of your comments so that I can get benefited. Say something, we have like all of you here.
there is no comment by Prabhupada. I was appreciating the Prabhupada's way of presenting. Even there is a setting, scene this verse is explaining, but Prabhupada was very straightforward in the sense. He told why humanity is suffering, because they are not connected properly to the source. And he says the solution is chant, and this is presented by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he has presented the problem and also the solution in such a short, compact verse. Even though it's apparently like looks like setting a scene.
Just the starting scene, first verse.
That's what I was remembering. Like even one page, if we read, we might get everything. We might not realize.
Yeah. Thank you, bro.
Thank you for the class today. There was the topic watering the dead branch. Today in the verse 1.1.4, I was able to connect myself. I was watering a dead branch for so many years, and I realized I'm at that stage in my life right now. So I think that's very relevant to me.
We are. I'm pretty much badly into that one.
So I think that was my realization. And
there are different levels of illusion, right?
Yeah. So you never know. Sometimes, right? We think we are going in the right path, but it doesn't work out, and then sometimes we have to change course. It's very important. But it took me so many years to realize that. I think today it was very clear for me today, like what I was doing in a different analogy. Now I can understand. And verse 1.1.5, because we all go to Bhakti Rishas, and sometimes people ask questions so like adamantly, like they don't respect the speaker, they don't respect. And I think that it's very clear in the last paragraph here that one must submit questions with a great regard for the speaker and the subject matter.
Yeah.
So sometimes we go off the topic, right? Some ask like, if we go to Dham, do they get credit, Like, what is the question? But the discussion at that time was, when you go to Dham, you have to find the pure devotee and serve them, follow them. That's the, the scripture says, follow, do this.
Yeah.
But we still have questions about, if I do this, do I get, There's no point in asking such kind of questions. And, it's a lot of realizations coming through, listening to Bhagavatam, about connecting to our real life, how to change the, So it was really good. Thank you.
Prabhupada's message is really like, we are very fortunate. We only need to open it and stay in touch with him, reading a page, 2 pages, which, that's our goal. We need to stay connected to the power source, who is really looking anxious for the welfare of everyone. Then we can be his instruments in small ways. We always have opportunities. We need to just help them because they're sincere, otherwise they would not come to temple or Bhakti Rusha, but they don't know the rest of the parts. So we educate ourselves more, and then we try to help them. Then it will become a Sangeet Yajna, congregational chanting. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji, for your realizations, sharing your realizations.
It's so great that we have started the classes.
Our great goes to Krishna, Prem Prabhu and Premanand Mataji.
So, Prabhu, I actually had a question. in 1.1.4 it says that all acts must be performed sacrificially for the satisfaction of Vishnu and his devotees. So, just practically, as we are going about running around in our work and job, and how do we really apply that sacrificially?
There is a trick or a tip, for the cultivation of devotional life. The good part is devotional service works at a different level than our material work. If you read the purport of text 240, it's about how, anyone remembers the 240 verse? It's about how there is no loss or There Prabhupada really explains how devotional service works. So the couple of pointers there is no failure in devotional activity. There is no failure at all. And then whatever little we do, it will stay. And it will stay forever. No other activity can be like that. Even at our work is complete only we make it 100%. Our work is complete only we make the 100% deal. We give the service to the customer and customer pays back fully. Otherwise, it's not success, right? So similarly, not similarly, devotion service works at a different level. The beauty of devotion service or Krishna consciousness is Krishna accepts even our intention, even if we are not able to do. Even our intention, I want to do it, I want to offer to you Krishna. That's it, Krishna moves things for us. He helps us. So, something that I heard a lot and helps me so much is doing small thing consciously every day. I want to do this as a sacrifice to Krishna or the pleasure of the pleasure of Krishna and his devotees. I will do the small thing. It can be as simple as moving things around or anything. But the intention, the consciousness we cultivate every day, the small activity, then one day we find ourselves by Krishna's mercy, offering all sacrifices to the Lord. Basically, it will work in a compound factor. The consciousness will get trained, and then it will inspire us to take up more and more and up to. That's the process of devotional service. That's there in the process to take us from wherever we are to our natural, relationship and natural situation of the soul, relationship with Krishna. So we only need to follow the process. Particularly macro devotion says it's like a child learning to walk. Walking capacity is already there. Child needs to try out a couple of steps, seeing others, through association, right? And then he might take 2 steps and fall down, but in course of time, he starts running. Right? Similarly, our natural situation is doing everything for Krishna. It is unnatural not doing everything for Krishna. So then, by following the regulative process of devotion service, it's called sadhana bhakti. That's a process that takes us to the bhava and prema. Prema is basically, you don't do anything other than what Krishna wants. So that helps us maybe. It's a conscious level of cultivation that is very powerful.
Krishna Guru. For me, I was greatly appreciating the process of Bhagavatam. It's really, in one way, like in the text 4, it was telling that intelligent persons take up the process, and by doing that, all the detached branches, like watering the root becomes easy. And somehow, because of the education system and people around us, like they've been so trained to do things in a way just focusing on us. But Prabhupada has really given the shelter, and it changes so much. And like you were telling, we just have to start with our sadhana, because if that is not strong, we just get influenced with the things around us.
Yeah.
And it becomes really difficult, and the situations really get worse.
Yeah.
I really I'm thankful for Prabhupada and giving this Bhagavatam with all the information. It's not like from here and there, it's just straightforward.
Yeah.
Take it, you'll get it, or else you just have to go through. It was something.
Yeah, we can easily get sidetracked, and instead of doing the welfare activity, we can get into the opposite side. We have to be really cautious. Keep our association, keep our sadhana program, the areas of strength for us. We need to keep it paka, and we need to keep revisiting and resetting, because we do get distracted. So yeah, Prabhupada's sticking with Prabhupada's system. We have our protection.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I was just appreciating two things. One, you were saying when we were reading the purport of 1 and 4, devotees do for everything for the Lord's pleasure, and other side, people do only for sense gratification.
Yeah.
So I was actually questioning myself, even when I'm doing the devotion practice.
Because they're forgetful.
Where am I? Yeah.
They're not aware.
Yeah, where am I? But immediately, as I was reflecting, I was feeling so hopeful being in this association and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Wherever I am, even though I know I'm 99.99% in that forgetful section, but still I have got this opportunity, and at the end of the purport, it's so beautifully, as Vrindavan Prabhu is mentioning, that's the solution. And we have that opportunity, we have that association, we have that guidance, and we have Srimad Bhagavatam in our lives. And I was also really appreciating you sharing how, sages, they are at a different level of looking for the welfare of the people. But seeing the example in Srila Prabhupada and his successors, how they want to really inundate with Srimad Bhagavatam and chanting through MSF and book distribution, it's very, very touching and inspiring for me to do my tiny. Thank you so much.
Something I want to say is, yes, we can take it as a 99% wherever we are, but we also need to give credit to those great saints who was blessing us constantly, and we need to feel the responsibility of carrying that mercy, and we need to assist them. Yes, we can be humble, but the real humility is, again, we need to a little bit help them free from anxiousness about ourselves. It's like growing up, right? And of course, we don't need to do any miraculous things, but we need to feel, we need to give credit to the mercy givers. Prabhupada worked so much, spiritual master worked so much, our mentor worked so much. Why? And we need to give credit to them. By their mercy, there is something that's happening, and we want to feel it and assist them back. Again, this is the mission of the Lord. Sages are doing this. The mission of the Lord, and then sages representatives here Sukadeva Goswami, Vyasdev, and then Sukadeva Goswami and Sutta Goswami, and then the chants. It's a same. It's a one mission, and we need to take burden of love. They say we need to feel it, and when we feel it, then it will impel us. It will awaken more bhakti in our hearts. And then, thank you all very, very much for your blessings.
You know, the last comment, not a minute, the last comment you made, you know, of course, the mentor, Srila Prabhupada, disciple generally. You know, a lot of us has fallen from devotional service. A lot of us. Some of us came back. Some
You're trying to pick up.
just couldn't pick up. But the point I want to make is, you know, Srila Prabhupada, coming from a place, when our acharyas come from a place, that devotional service is very prominent. Very prominent because, and when you come from that place to one place, when he gets his instructions of go west, and the people of this place saw Srila Prabhupada, and they literally ignore him in some ways, because they thought of him, and this is just common sense, they thought of him as someone who had came from this place,
Yeah.
like the others who came,
Yeah.
and they did not do well to them. And, you know, in the so much cheated. And they never make any comment, bad things about, oh, this was this person again, another one. You know, they just leave him alone.
Yeah.
And gradually, somehow or other, gradually, after such a long time, 1 year, for a sadhu to do what he's done when he came west,
Yeah.
that was a long time. Year,
1 year.
and they get closer, closer.
And closer.
They gradually get closer, and the only thing, when you really think about it, is what Jai Krishna engaged me in, and when we chanted the holy name, this is what this name, the meaning is, oh, Jai Krishna engaged me in your service. After Srila Prabhupada was in the kata, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare. They gradually came closer and closer.
Yeah.
And they reached at that point, and he says, and he told them, bring the drums and bring everything. And they get closer. I mean, and even though you never read about this, but when, because of chanting, you can get through chanting only, you could really realize that how these devotees come closer to Srila Prabhupada. You know, and a lot of them was not academically smart. You know, compared to the point that Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles, when he met so much of professors and plague men and so much. And it takes them such a long time to realize that awakening process.
It's
you know,
for us.
I think about it because, you know, when you think about Srila Prabhupada, his own countrymen totally ignorant. Serious.
That's right, bro.
Hare Krishna. Anyway, I think I might be ready.
So we already 5 minutes past our time. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna.